Today is March 26th, and I'm going to take you guys along the journey of adding a new feature into my indie game. So in the last devlog, we worked on a modular damageable system that will allow us to sequence certain death events together, and today I wanted to implement the idea that started this entire process, the finishers. So with a system like this, there's a few moving parts I need to consider. First off, syncing an animation between the player and an orc and lining them up properly is a task on its own right, but layering on top of that with some smooth camera animations and some particle gives it a whole nother dimension I need to think about. So let's get started on the animations.
I hit a new low and stumbled on gold. I want it right now for taking control.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, it's a nice day outside. You trying to go get some shots?
Yeah, we might as well.
Alright, man, pull up.
Alright, I'll see you there. So it's the next day. I ended up coming home yesterday and studying up for an exam I had today. Hopefully that all went well, but I guess we'll find out in a few days. With that being said, I wanted to continue with what we left off yesterday. Basically, we got to a point where the enemy is now playing his death animation for the finisher, but the player isn't playing his. So we gotta make sure they line up properly, and also that the player, plays his half, because you can't have a finisher without half the animation. So we're gonna start on that, clean up some loose ends, and I'll catch up with you guys in a minute. Okay, so it's about 6 p.m. and we got the player and the enemy to properly play their respective animations, but we still have a lot to do. However, it's my little brother's birthday today and we made dinner, so I'll get back on this tomorrow. So it's Tuesday, and taking a step back to look at how I was going to implement everything, I realized the way I was handling the enemy side of animation would cause a lot of problems. So I decided to take some time to rethink the implementation and get it right. So after some time, I think I came up with something that will work. So at first, I thought I would want the camera and the enemy animation to be linked using a timeline event, which is Unity's cinematic system, but since I wanted to keep this system as separate as possible, I'm going to separate each part. So now I can have a custom animation play and in the future keep the camera paths separate. Okay, so it's Wednesday and I kind of have a physics test I should probably be studying for, but camera movement, right? Okay, now with this enemy here, if I just grab you guys real quick, if we walk up to him and then we just hit him, an animation should play and it should work. There we go. Okay, so now that the animation's playing, it's super smooth and it just looks awesome. So now that we got the animation to work properly and it's all smooth and nice and just beautiful, I'm gonna just add some polish, some particle effects, and add that extra bit of just game juice to make it perfect. But I'm gonna study for that physics exam and I will catch you guys when I work on it next. So it's Friday, March 31st, and you guys know what that means. It's the end of the week, school is out, and I'm ready to finish the system. So where we left off last time on Wednesday was that we got the camera system to move and rotate how we want it to. And what I noticed as I went back and looked through the clips is that it looks really dramatic for this type of enemy. The camera movement might work really well for a boss orc, wink wink. But for this type of dweller orc, if we're gonna have finishers for these enemies, then I think we gotta just tone down the camera and just have a little bit of a quicker sequence. So with that being said, I'm gonna plan this out, go to the gym, come back, and get started. So So it's about 11:30 and I just got the camera system working how I wanted it to. Instead of it having this whole big animation for every single enemy, I now gave it the feature to have a more point A to point B snapping feature, which I think works for these smaller enemies a lot better. However, I still want to add some game juice and stuff, but I'm going to take a little bit of a break for the rest of the night and kind of work with this new Raspberry Pi and breadboard. I want to get the basics set up for it for an engineering project I'm a part of, so let's get right into that. We got something. Okay, so it's the next morning and I just finished up breakfast, but with that being said, I want to finish up the whole finisher system by adding in game juice and some visual effects. So whenever the player hits him, it's going to look like what it usually does with him flashing red and playing a hit animation with the particle. And then I also want to add some camera effects, so whenever he does the finisher, the camera might have some blurred edges, and then also add a few more effects so you really can tell this is a big impactful movement. Without more introduction, let's get right into it. There is one thing I wanted to fix before adding the game juice, and that is collisions. For the longest time, collisions have been inconsistent at best, and that completely takes the player out of the experience. So for the last few hours, I've been trying to create my own collision system for weapons, which should hopefully lessen this issue. While implementing the new collision system, it ended up fixing all the issues I had with adding the hit effects to the finishers, so I quickly went ahead and added the camera effects, and this is how it all looks tied together.